Going to be into the game rather soon. Amnesiac up 2-1, I believe, against YuukiSensei at the moment. So he's on the match point for the current match. You know, we're in the early phases of the Swiss event, so it's not the end of the world if you lose your first match. It does affect your potential tiebreaker results going forward.
Yes.
But it does not make or break your ability to make it to top 16.
Yeah, and it's good to see Amnesiac here as well. He doesn't go to every single event, but I think more and more he's getting rid of that attitude of why should I bother, and realizing that not only is there $25,000 on the line, but there's also a snowball effect on the line. Just keep winning stuff. We talked about it in the introduction show. Get your name out there more and more, win more and more, make a name for yourself more and more.
Yeah, the ability to just get yourself that recognition, right? Amnesiac's sort of a controversial figure for a lot of the Hearthstone community. Some people view him as the bad boy, but Amnesiac is growing into a fine young man, and as time has passed, I say that he's grown to be a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I think he was the bad guy at some point, sort of somewhere after last time's BlizzCon, but grown up so much this year and taking the game incredibly seriously. His stream now is a really good stream to watch as well. It's got a lot of sort of informative stuff. He'll actually discuss with the viewers, like, what do you want me to do today? Rather than just turning up and doing what he likes. Just stuff like that. He's thinking about things and he's doing things the right way. He's
a competitive player at heart. And Amnesiac right now, 2-1, has the Warrior still left, Aggro, Pirate, Warrior, as well as the Priest. So these are two extremely powerful decks, and to beat them, YuukiSensei is down to his Druid. And we see the Dirty Rat in YuukiSensei's deck. Now, Dirty Rat's a fine card, but Dirty Rat's particularly difficult to make work in Druid as a result of you simply not having hard removal.
Right.
So you bring out something immediately, unless you play Naturalize, that thing is probably going to live. So the goal here is to snipe cards like Raza the Chained, and maybe Kazakas that matter a lot, but it's a very difficult card to use in Druid.
Amusing to me what happened with this. Yeah, if I find it hard, you end up just really struggling, having to do. Interesting here, looking at this Keleseth, like getting rid of Warax, and said, you haven't got any 2-drops left, Pirate Warrior, what are you going to do? And Keleseth seems to step up to that challenge every single time. The downside, of course, is that this deck now on turn 2 is really feeble if it doesn't pick up much.
Yeah, feeble is an understatement. I think that deck is the weakest turn 2 in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't got a hero power. Arming up is not a hero power in an aggro deck.
So the deck ends up trying to compensate by adding a little bit more of the 1s to get themselves at least on the board on turn 1 so they can transition into 3 naturally. But their turn 2 is so miserable.
What is interesting here is Muzzy, Chucky, and Amnesiac. None of them have brought the best decks, the big 3, whatever you want to call that. They've all brought their own take on the meta. They've all found a way that they think they can approach the meta from different angle to normal. Whereas we've seen a lot of other tournaments where the best players are just bringing the best lineup.
I think it has a lot to do with Rogue being. I don't want to see it. I don't want to say that Rogue upset the plans of the metagame, but I feel like over the course of 2 weeks, it went from, oh, Tempo Rogue's a fine ladder deck, to Tempo Rogue's a really good tournament deck even. It's just one of those.
It's just a case of where. It's definitely in the top 3. It's just a case of whether it's number 1 or number 2 or number 3. It's one of those 3 slots.
Yeah, it just kind of exploded. And now that you're thinking about the lineups here, it's like J Druid, Priest, Tempo Lock.
And like you say, Rogue just throws, you've got to be able to deal with Rogue, but you've got to be able to deal with Priest. They're totally different animals.
That is going to bring out a 3-3. That YuukiSensei will simply chomp up. So maybe that's how you use Dirty Rat. You know, maybe that's how Druid uses Dirty Rat.
Against Pirate Warrior in conjunction with the Galaka Crawler.
Ah, sure.
Solved. Next.
Yep, we can just move on. Next metagame, please.
Yeah, this one's been solved.
So Amnesiac looking at a upgrade, not going to do very much in this case. Amnesiac also with the potential Kor'kron Elite can get himself a trade. Does offer his opponent a really solid hero power turn though. And I feel like at this point what he's looking to do most is get that Bitter Tide online as early as possible. So while that 5-4 is nice, it's not perfect against the way the Druid's developing.
Should also be noted here, we're not 100% sure yet what this Druid is until we see further info. We've seen a lot of tech cards, some removal. We haven't seen a Jade, we haven't seen any aggro. It's almost certainly some sort of Jade Druid, but we've seen none of it. We can't be absolutely sure until we see some more cards.
I will bet on Jade. But I'm open to something new.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it was Jade too, but I just want to point out we have no actual evidence, well, other than anecdotal, everyone brings Jade Druid evidence.
What is this as a mage now that I think about it, you know? It's a good question.
It's gone. You don't need to dwell on the past, the mage is out of here.
Yeah, I really wonder what the lineup was trying to target. Very interesting from YuukiSensei. All the players so far, not a single one with the same lineup. Something to consider as well.
Yeah, it's looking good for the day's Hearthstone when we're seeing so many different classes so early in round one, when we are focusing on 3 of the best players in the room, and we've seen nearly every class represented already, or at least different variations of the class that we've seen.
Amnesiac now realizing, oh, if I play the Corsair, then it gets traded into, another minion comes out, could be Aya Blackpaw, could be Jade Behemoth, then I play the Hydra. He's got enough damage on the board to stall me because I can't then clean up everything. It's just so miserable having to play from behind as an aggro deck. And while Jade isn't necessarily the best anti-aggro deck, it's got sufficient value there. Oh, Patches hasn't come out, that's true. I forgot the Keleseth Patches ping.
You were right, Noxious, that's a Jade.
I can't believe it!
Wow. Noxious, the fortune teller.
A Jade Druid.
However, his hand is awful. I guess it's not that awful because double swipe is okay here, but he hasn't got a Behemoth he'd like. He hasn't got his Jades online, which he would also obviously like. And Bittertide into Arcanite Reaper is a heck of a lot of damage with upgrade in hand.
The fact that the Patches just slipped away from my mind really changes the dynamic of this game, because suddenly Korkron as a 5/4 is extremely potent. It's no longer just the weak sauce. I'm trying to come back, play. It's very much a dominant one, and now Amnesiac having that knowledge. Because the first Pirate came out and got eaten up, but it didn't summon Patches.
Yeah, it looked like, yeah, we'd seen Pirates, but we hadn't seen Patches.
That is correct. Amnesiac's still in the leading position there.
Patches is a smart captain. He just waits until all the crabs have gone and then gets involved.
I wish. I mean, the thing is, he's small enough that no crab wants to eat him. There's always a bigger pirate next to him as fodder. Patches is cannon fodder. The other
always a bigger pirate.
Fodder.
Quotes to live by. So Amnesiac's in a position where he's got a very good chance of sticking this Hydra to the board here. But with a double upgrade, that's also tempting just to start smacking face. But next turn is so damaging. All 3 targets actually relevant here. You can hit the 1/1 for a really simple value. You can hit face because face is good place. And you can take the obvious trade, which is the 2/3.
YuukiSensei can set up a swipe right away, which would damage the Hydra and set up for the second swipe on the following turn. The fact that he's got 2 4-drops makes that line a bit less unpleasant, right? Because you're able to then follow up your turn 8 with an actual body on the board while you're removing the Hydra, so that's worth quite a bit.
Hydra is going to connect at least once, though, for 8 damage, and that's a big chunk when we're looking at that Arcanite Reaper. But if that Hydra goes, currently Amnesiac's board will be a sad, lonely board. He needs to find a way to get another threat on the board. Pick up another Hydra would be a good plan.
I mean, he does get 25 damage out of the Reaper, right?
That sounds like a lot. I'll believe you.
Yeah. I feel like he gets more than that, actually, because a few of the hits are 7.
Yeah, he gets a lot. I mean, he gets 28 if he just wants to, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Fandral is going to come out alone here. The Hydra is going to be taken care of in 1 turn, as opposed to doing it over 2 turns.
But the downside is that turn is going to be just swiping Hydra twice, which means that the turn after that, Amnesiac can fill the board back up with stuff, assuming that he Arcanites down the Fandral here.
And I mean, it's also weaker to Frothing Berserkers, because then the swipes end up running into the 3-drop, and that can be a bit problematic. Maybe he's on a read that there isn't such a thing. Hoping that Hydra trades into the 3/5 maybe, but even that doesn't kill it with swipe alone. So he's hoping to double swipe, once on the Hydra, once on the secondary minion to finish off the Hydra. Now runs into his worst possible outcome, I'd say.
Yeah, because this is not just miss that go, this is miss 2 turns. You have to kill the Hydra or it's going to eat you. And then, in a lot of worlds, Amnesiac just jams another big minion and kills you with it. As it happens, at the moment, Amnesiac's hand is not built that way. But if he picks up any minion at all, I want to say here, because the swipes will have gone, he can just go wide or tall or whatever he wants to do and take control of this.
Well, YuukiSensei forced to commit to this line of play. That's not what he wants to do. Amnesiac now in the driver's seat has the ability to get himself a 21 total damage out of the Reaper. And with the little South Sea deckhand over 2 turns, that can represent...
The worst possible card for Amnesiac in the entire deck. It's literally nothing.
It's 1 damage later.
It's literally nothing. It's not going to be played in this game of Hearthstone unless something crazy happens.
Well, I could see a world where YuukiSensei picks up Jade Behemoth.
Yeah.
Maybe then Amnesiac's forced to go...
Or Gluttonous Ooze.
Yeah, sure.
He's played every other tech card in Hearthstone.
Let it be. Oh, do I want to see a Gluttonous Ooze off that draw? We've seen the Crawler, we've seen Dirty Rat, we've seen Spellbreaker, we've seen Mind Control tech. I mean, at this point...
We have seen Jade Spirit, so it is a Jade deck somewhere in there.
There are Jade cards. The specifics are sort of foggy.
Yeah, and this is what we were saying a minute ago, though, about Amnesiac. He can go wide. He's seen 2 swipes. Looks like he's going to keep back the deckhand, though. Let's use it as removal, assuming that it's just going to be taken care of. Dirty Rat.
2 Dirty Rats. Somebody's teching hard.
Yeah, really hard.
Somebody's like, Exodia Mage the thing, right? Can pull those apprentices. Yeah,
Exodia Mage loses to this deck. Pretty sure.
Which is funny because you're not supposed to beat Exodia Mage with this type of Jade Druid, but with double Dirty Rat, I could see this deck work.
Yeah, there's not many things that it actually whiffs when it pulls against Exodia, especially if you wait 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, that's the silence play that YuukiSensei can at least use to set it up. The big downside is that there's almost no point to face tanking these minions unless you want them to never connect again. So they're still going to get to do their damage, as expected.
So this is the bad turn for Amnesiac, but there's lots of big stuff in his deck, presumably.
Spellbreaker's in there, maybe. I mean, we've seen a lot of that in Pirate Warrior recently. 3-2, can't complain.
It's probably actually okay. It looks grim at first glance, but it's going to get quite a lot done in taking care of the Spellbreaker if he wants to, or just going to the face if he wants to. It's going to be a few calculations of how much damage he thinks he's got. Maybe the literal 0 of the first mate is actually going to be enough damage to get this over the line later on.
Yeah, I think going face here is the way to go for Amnesiac, because he's down to really getting the killing blows. So he's got Kor'kron Elite left in the deck, other big weapons potentially. He could find a Blood Cell Cultist to go with this N'Zoth's first mate, making the weapon a bit more impactful.
And this does set up lethal, so it's not going to happen because there will be a trade, but it means that he doesn't need to make the trade himself. Spreading Plague.
The Plague. That's a good card.
It's a good card.
I thought it was Plague. Everybody knows it's Plague.
Plague. 6 mana, 1/5. Doesn't sound so good when you say it like that.
It's pretty good in this spot, though.
It really is. It's just going to take care of a huge weapon that's been sort of threatening to win the game for a couple of turns. It's not quite enough to finish it off, though. Sometimes Spreading Plague does just straight up win the game. In this slot, it's still, Bone Mare would be a massive pickup if it's in that deck.
Kor'kron would be insane.
Kor'kron would be crazy.
I'll take a Cultist, all right.
Yeah,
Thank you for that extra charge.
Is nice.
Yes, sir. I'll grab that. I picked up the Cultist on time because he was probably going to exhaust that weapon charge otherwise and just have to use the Cultist onto the hook. But instead is going to get to use it on the Reaper, which is a lot more dangerous. And I feel like every time I see Warrior nowadays, their weapons just grow insanely big. As there are less weapon, like anti-weapon techs in the metagame,
yeah,
they're never dealt with.
Yeah, because nobody's playing weapon apart from Dagger. Paladin occasionally. But oh, and there's another class, the green one. What's that called? Hunter or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It runs rats and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, doesn't sound very interesting.
Rats and worms, I don't know.
Rats and worms.
Okay,
all right.
That's cute. Lets you cycle if you want to.
Does let you cycle into the 4/5, so that's handy.
Because you're dead to the weapon if you face tank anything, so that's not even an option. That's not within the realm of plays.
And you're dead to the board if you don't do something, and you're dead to the board if you do 3 damage to something, so you've got to cycle.
Jade Behemoth is the draw, I think. That's not it. Feral Rage for some health.
There's the Behemoth, it's too late. There's the Infestation, that's too late. There's J Behemoth, that's too late. Amnesiac's gonna get this done.
Wrap it up, 3-1 in his first set against YuukiSensei. The double Dirty Rat MC Tech. Galaka Crawler Druid that ate up a 3-3 that had pulled the Dirty Rat. Still not enough to beat the weapon.
To beat Kazaka's Pirate Warrior.
Kazakus?
Kazakus? Kazakh. It's the same thing.
Oh,
it
okay.
cheats and wins you the game for no reason.
Understood.
They're a little bit different, Lorinda.
They're not that different.
Just a smidge bit. But you know what it really was there? That Spellbreaker trade into the Flame Elemental to keep the Spellbreaker around instead of trading directly into the Pirate. It was greedy, but he wanted to get that extra trade so the Spellbreaker could kill both the Deckhand and the Flame Elemental. Leaving the Pirate up means the Cultist is active, means you get an extra 8 damage from that Reaper, and ultimately that was what sealed the deal for Amnesiac there. But what a first round we had. Losses for both Chalky and Muzzy, but a win for Amnesiac. So some players have a lot of ground to make up. Some players have set themselves up in a really good position to keep on winning and potentially make the cut to the top 16 tomorrow. But that's only the first round of 9 rounds of Swiss. We're going to be right back with round number 2. Still a couple of players finishing up their matches, so we're unsure of exactly how long it will be. But take a little break. We'll be right back as soon as we possibly can with Swiss round number 2.